Time for another episode of Council Bluffs Today, presented by Waldstein Plumbing. I am Todd Studer, and we welcome back into the studio today. This is Jason Swain with Therapy Place, and Jason works in the mental health field. You are a therapist, and you are well, you're a busy man. I know that this field for some folks, it can be kind of tough to even get that initial appointment just because of how busy everything is. But I think that in itself is an indication of just how important the work is that you're doing.
Right. I mean, there's an extraordinary need for mental health therapy, not just inside of a therapist's office, but just to have conversation about mental health. You know, normalize that, yes, we all feel anxiety. We all go through a period of being sad. Mm-hmm. Maybe it becomes deeper and it's more depression. Maybe it does become where it is a major depressive episode. But how do we interact with the people around us to let them know that it's like getting a cold?
Yeah.
If you have a cold, you're going to take something, maybe a decongestant, help you breathe. What are you going to do for anxiety?
We've, the word stigma almost has a stigma now, because, and we preach it a lot inside of the industry, that overcoming the stigma behind mental illness. For you, working in the field, what does that mean? What does it mean to overcome the stigma of mental illness?
I think to me, what it means is, and me, Jason, as an individual, not as the professional, means being able to talk about it. I mean, it just means that it's there, and we don't ignore it. We talk about it, we address it. As a professional, it means that the door's open. Make the appointment, come in, let's see what we can do to help you. I mean, there's a lot of value in being able to talk to somebody who doesn't have, a stake in the game. What I mean by is, I'm not involved in your life from the outside looking in, and can help with different perspectives, maybe shift some thinking, reframe some thoughts. Depends. Are we talking about something that is a brief problem in time? Or are we talking about something that, an individual who's got some deep-seated core negative beliefs, right, that impact the way that they view and interact with the world?
I know that for some, it can be just strictly situational. And okay, what can we do to improve the situation? You're going to find that things in your life improve. Sometimes, and I have been public about it on this show, it has to do with PTSD, which is something that I deal with, and it went undiagnosed for decades. So I was dealing with a lot of things involved with that.
Right.
That when you talk about stigma, had been characterized by others as a personality flaw.
Right. I mean, through a misunderstanding.
Yes.
Right. Not being able to conceptualize or come to grips with the impact that traumatic events have on us. If we're talking about PTSD, there's been studies where they've done functional MRI, and they can actually see that after a traumatic event, that there's physical changes in the structure of the brain. So things just don't work the same.
And also we tend to map memories in our minds, and one thing leads to the next, and that chain can kind of get deep-seated, and we can't break free from it. That's why something that is completely innocent, our brain is reminded of something bad that happened. And this is something that I've learned over the past decade, or however long it is, that our brain's not designed to make us feel good. Our brain is designed to keep us alive. Yeah, so that's why if it senses danger because of, this action leads to
Mhm.
physical pain or, your life may be in danger, then one thing can trigger the next thing.
Sure.
It's science. It's not a personality weakness.
Right. And I mean, now you're talking about, survival instinct,
Yes.
right? The amygdala and the fight, flight, freeze, or fawn response,
Right.
right? So we're adding some new ones just because it's cool.
Yeah, when I was a kid, it was just fight or flight.
Right. Yeah.
And a freeze has been added into it, and
And fawn.
fawn.
Yeah, that was a new one for me just a couple of weeks ago, actually. So it was like every time I hear it, I just picture a baby deer.
Well, I think
Anyway,
that's probably where it comes from. It's a baby deer sitting very still
Mhm.
until danger leaves.
Right. And then, now I'm like, well, what's the difference between that and freeze? But a fawn looks cute.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it does.
So anyway,
Comes with spots.
but when a situation either consciously or unconsciously reminds us of something that was bad, negative, traumatic, the body reacts, the brain reacts. It's going to keep us safe. Now, where those survival mechanisms become disordered or maladaptive is when the threat is not the same. Meaning, let's take a combat veteran. Learned to react to loud noises, right? And there was immediate things that soldier had to do. Got it. Grocery store, loud noise. Not the same environment, not the same threat, but the same reaction.
Yeah, because the brain is on. It's like a tripwire, and it's not as if this person is having different data come in and then making the judgment call that this is dangerous. It's not that.
No.
It's an instant thing.
Right, because that survival instinct is kicked in and overrides, the prefrontal cortex, the thought, the executive functioning is just gone because we're in survival mode.
And because nothing else matters at that point other than according to how we're wired and how over eons of conditioning within the human condition, this has what has been proven to keep someone alive.
Right.
But the problem is that we don't have saber-toothed tigers chasing us anymore. So oftentimes that danger is it's a wiring problem. It's not that the danger truly exists.
Right. So then how do you rewire the anxious brain or the brain impacted by PTSD? What are some of the things that you as an individual alone can do? Right. I mean, in the first part is my mind, placing yourself here and now. Right. If you have that split second to realize I'm in Walmart, I am not in Baghdad,
Right.
Fallujah. I am not in a car accident on I-29. Yeah, here I am. My brain's still going. Very first thing I can do, the easiest thing I can do,
Take a breath.
take a deep breath. Couple calm, deep breaths. Deep, hold, exhale completely. It's going to start to reset the vagus nerve. And the vagus nerve is one of the cranial nerves. But it kind of impacts all the major body functions: respiration, heart rate, digestion, and going from the fight flight response, settling it down. If I can get a good deep breath in, I'm more than likely going to be able to calm myself. If after a deep breath my mind is still going, but my body is feeling a little bit more relaxed, then I can do some other grounding techniques to put me back in the present instead of one foot in that memory. And yeah, the five senses. Yeah, I mean, that's what we use them for.
Yes.
So, um, one of the things I instruct clients with is, say out loud or where you're comfortable, five things that you can see, four things that you can feel or touch with your hands, and then you're naming them. Yeah. Um, three things you hear, two things you smell, and one that you can taste. That kind of puts you right back into what is immediately around you.
Well, and also because in the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, it's not as if taste is less important than sight in that particular case. It's just another way to start to compartmentalize everything. And it puts our brain into, okay, what number was I on? You have to focus.
Right.
And that focus is what can help. And again, this is not a sudden fix all where you can just say, okay, I've done this and now I can go about my day and everything's just wonderful. It's not that.
Right.
But it can get things to the point where you feel like you got a little more of a handle on it and it's a little more manageable.
Right. I mean, maybe the tightness in the chest has gone down, your breathing is more under control, and you're not looking around you for anything that is a threat.
Council Bluffs Today is brought to you by Keith Jones, your Edward Jones financial advisor in Council Bluffs. Learn how he can help you reach your financial goals. Visit edwardjones.com for more. Edward Jones, member SIPC. S&B Country Kennel is the top spot in Southwest Iowa when you need to know your dog will receive only the best. Boarding, daycare, grooming, self-washing, training, and even a membership available to a dog park over an acre in size. S&B Country Kennel also has rescue dogs, so check with them about adoption possibilities. sbcountrykennel.com, that's country spelled with a K, located just west of I-29 on Bungie Avenue, south of Council Bluffs.
Something else that I have been taught recently is that the deep breathing part, it's important to do that even when you're not feeling anxiety.
Oh, yes.
Because if you can take some time, set aside 5 minutes, and what I was told is put it on my calendar, which I haven't done yet, I'm sorry. But put it on my calendar once a day and say 5 minutes to breathe. And here's an additional thing that I found fascinating, because you mentioned the different senses. When I'm doing that, I take cherry chapstick. And I just I'm smelling that because cherry chapstick is very, very, very strong smell. It's got a real punch to it. Then, because I now associate that smell with being relaxed and being calm, if I'm feeling anxiety, just smelling that chapstick can help because I'm still using my brain the same way it's designed. It's still wiring patterns.
Right.
Now I've taken something that, okay, this smell means this, and I'm just using the wiring as it's designed.
I like it. One of the things that we do in session from time to time is take one of those really extremely sour and then sweet candies.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Right. Pop it.
You just made my mouth water, by the way.
But the whole process starts with, I've got it. I can feel it. I'm opening the package. I can hear the package opening. I can notice the texture. As soon as it hits my tongue, I notice the taste, the texture of the candy, and just focusing in on that and what that is doing. It's the same thing that we're still using all of the senses.
Right.
We're just focusing now, really getting to incorporate taste a little bit better.
Yeah, because we're bringing our mind back into the present because anxiety doesn't exist there. Anxiety is not living in the present. If we are being chased by a bear, that's not anxiety we're feeling.
Right. I mean,
we're not projecting danger and trying to avoid it down the road. So, and I think I talked to you about this before, that it was a few years ago that I heard on a podcast that if you're feeling anxiety, like a lot of anxiety, that in itself is proof your life is pretty good, because right now you don't have anything to pull you out of that. There's nothing horrible happening to you right now. So your brain is able to start projecting into the future. And to me, because I like things that get me out of my own head, and I can, and I said, well, I never thought of that. That was something that I had never thought of, and I said, I can lean on that a little bit.
So, in order to have anxiety, I have to be in a safe place.
Exactly. There's truth to that, though.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I'm not worried about anything immediately around me. Everything that I'm worried about is here and probably future oriented.
Right. But at the same time, and again, we slide back into that stigma word. It's not as if there's something horribly wrong with the person if they're feeling that.
Right.
It is just your brain sensing danger in some way, and now it's trying to attach a meaning behind it, and it's looking around and, okay, this is it, this is it, this is it. We interpret that as anxiety.
Right.
It was folks that had extreme anxiety back during caveman days. They're the ones that survived easier because they're highly tuned to the snap of the twig and everything else. Well, at this point then, when we look at options that we can do to just try to calm things down, and listen, we're not talking if you're in a situation where you are being overcome with extreme feelings of despair and ideation and everything else, then reach out. Start with 911. That's an important thing to do. This is more of, all right, I feel things going up, and I feel the stress starting to increase and the anxiety starting to increase, and I'm spending more time projecting into the future than I am right now.
Yeah, so the way I'd like to think about it is if we were to take and have a scale for individual level of anxiety, 10 being the highest and worst that's ever been, and 1, most people are operating in that 3, 4 range. It's going to fluctuate depending on the situation. But the goal of using some of these grounding skills or coping mechanisms is we notice that when we're at a 4 and we're starting to climb above that, that's when we use these.
Right.
So we stay here because it's easier to go from a 5 back down to a 3 than it is to go from an 8 to a 3, right? So if we can kind of head it off, keep calm, keep cool, be collected, then bound to be a little bit better of a day. Your point earlier was we've got to do these things even in a time when we don't need them.
Yep.
Right? So it's the practice. It's knowing how the tool works and being able to use it and be comfortable with it so that in an emergency, it's there. It's like, I've got, well, I used to have one of those seatbelt knives and hammer for the windshield in case of a car accident. Never had to use it. And but it was there if it was needed. Now, same thing with the deep breathing. Another one that is really effective is progressive muscle relaxation. Are you familiar?
I think so, but I'm going to let you describe it because I'm not. I may be thinking of something different.
Okay, so with progressive muscle relaxation, the idea is that when we are feeling anxious, we carry muscle tension,
yes.
and that just is there. As soon as you get anxious, you're going to notice a couple
Mine's right through here on both sides. Yep.
Right. Shoulders, tightness in the chest, maybe breathing a little bit. So now what we're going to do, and if you want, Todd, I'll run you through it.
Yeah?
Yeah. It's 2 minutes.
All right. Yeah. I'd love to do that. Let's see what we do.
So just get as comfortable as you can in the chair.
All right.
And you can keep your eyes open or you can close them, whatever you're comfortable with.
Okay.
And I just want you to take a deep breath in through your nose. Hold it at the top. Exhale completely through your mouth. Deep breath in. Hold it at the top. Exhale completely through your mouth. Now I just want you to shift focus and continue to breathe normally, but wiggle your toes inside your shoes. And stop. No. Curl your toes and hold. Relax. Leaving your heels on the ground, point your toes towards the sky. Relax. Toes on the ground, heels up in the air. You feel that one in the calf muscle. Relax. Now move up from the knees to your bottom and tighten your hamstrings, glutes, and just hold and squeeze. Relax. Now go ahead and tighten your abdominal and your core muscle. And continue to breathe. Relax. Take your shoulders and try to touch your ears. Relax. Take your arms and hold them out straight in front of you. Spread your fingers as far apart as you can. Rotate your palms to the sky. Hands to fists. And keeping your arms as straight as you can, rotate your wrists back towards you. Your hands back up. Drop your arms. We'll do shoulders to ears again. Relax. Lean forward slightly. Try to touch your shoulder blades together. Get a good stretch across the chest. Relax. And this next one's my favorite, and it's going to be great for the camera too.
Yeah.
I want you to tighten every muscle in your face like you've just smelled something horrible. Relax. Take a deep breath in through your nose. Exhale completely. Another deep breath into your nose, holding it at the top. At the bottom of the exhale, I want you to tighten every muscle in your body, including your face. Relax. Deep breath. Exhale completely. And that's progressive muscle relaxation.
I got a show to do, and I'm just I'm sitting here with all right. Yeah, I am not right now in my mind projecting anywhere out into the future. I do it a lot.
Mhm.
I was doing it this morning. My wife will tell you. But I'm not right now.
Yeah.
Right now, I'm sitting here in this studio. I'm looking at Jason Swain. Out of the corner of my eye, I can see a picture of Dallas Clark that people can't see because it's actually sitting behind your chair. And out of the other corner of my eye, I can see the light off to the side. And aware that there is a camera right there and that there's a camera right there. But I'm not projecting anxiety off into the future. So, yes, I see the definite value of that.
Now, that can be modified. You can do that just about anywhere, right? A lot of times I will suggest to people that if they're having trouble sleeping, lay down at bedtime. Do that. Relax the body, calm the mind. Sleep might come a little bit faster, a little bit more deepful, restful.
It's actually a military trick. I've heard about this, that doing box breathing to be able to go to sleep. I mean, inhale, hold, exhale, hold, and focus on that, and you can sleep just about anywhere. That's what I've heard. I've yet to experience it, but I've heard that that's a thing.
Yeah, I know when I was in the Army, I could fall asleep anywhere. I don't know if it was box breathing or just being that tired.
Just lack of sleep usually. And, yeah.
Yeah. And another real quick technique for, and let's just focus around that bedtime. sometimes some people, when they lay down, they're tired, their body's tired, and they're ready for sleep. And as soon as their head hits the pillow, the thoughts start going.
Yeah.
And it's just, same, same, same. And I will tell you that when this was taught to me, I was not a clinician. I was a patient, and I was active duty Army. And I just looked at the therapist, and it was like, that is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. The next time I went in, I had to apologize to her because it worked.
Okay.
But it's a distraction technique, and I call it the zoo. So what you do is deep breath, because I'm going to try to disrupt whatever circular thoughts or racing thoughts that I'm having, and picture myself at the zoo. But I'm not there to like have fun or anything. I've got a mission. I've got to find 26 animals,
Okay.
one for each letter of the alphabet. Don't have to get all the way to Z. You just go until you're not thinking about whatever it was you were thinking about.
Right.
So conscious energy, focused thought. You can do that as many times in the day as you need. But if you do it more than once in a day, you can't use the same animals.
Oh, wow. Because then it starts to become a habit.
Right.
And you're not using the same focus
Right.
that you were otherwise. Wow.
So first it sounds easy.
Right.
Right. But, oftentimes when I do it, I might get to F. Maybe.
Yeah. And then by the time you get there, you realize
I'm not thinking about whatever. I just cannot think of another animal with F.
If you're looking for a laid-back spot with great food and even better company, it's the Mile Away on Old Lincoln Highway north of Council Bluffs. This family-run bar and grill is your go-to for mouth-watering wings, unbeatable weekly specials, and a welcoming atmosphere that feels like home. So, if you're catching a game, enjoying one of those specials, or just unwinding after a long day, the Mile Away has you covered. Open every day, Tuesday through Sunday at 8 for breakfast, and don't forget them at lunch and dinner time as well. It's the Mile Away, Old Lincoln Highway, north of Council Bluffs. Service Master Restore by Schmader knows it can be hard to get things back to normal when you've suffered serious property damage due to flooding, fire, or smoke, and that can oftentimes lead to mold, and you may be left with all sorts of questions about how to get your home or business back to normal. It's easy. You give Cindy Schmader a call with Service Master Restore by Schmader. Her phone number, 402-339-9911.
I think what you're talking about here, Jason, is important to remember, too, that folks in your line of work, you don't have it all figured out. You don't have the absolute perfect, smooth life where you never feel any stress or anxiety. And for me, this is something that I just was starting to work on just recently over the past week, is that my goal is not to eliminate all anxiety out of my life. My goal is to not care as much that it's there.
Fair.
And that shifted my perspective a little.
Mm-hmm.
Not night and day, but it shifted it a little bit.
Right.
That, hey, the anxiety I'm feeling, because we fight it. And I think that that's part of it, that if we're projecting off into the future and we're worried about something, we fight that feeling. I do anyway. But it is not as important to fight the feeling as it is to just, if you relax into it. Somebody told me a long time ago when I was really stressed about something, and she said, just let go. I said, I don't know what you mean by that. But I figured it out later. Because, again, if we're walking around like this, and this is our anxiety, and we're walking around like this, keeping it, trying to force it away, so we're like this, we take it with us everywhere we go.
Right.
But if we do this, walk through, then we're leaving it behind us.
So, and I think another important thing about anxiety is a little bit tells us that there's something that we need to be looking for,
Right.
watching out for. When anxiety becomes problematic is when it stops us from being able to make a decision, following through on things, right? That's when it becomes the disordered part.
Right.
Um, but yeah, a little bit of anxiety back here. Okay, yeah, maybe anxiety, anxious because I'm going to be on a podcast with Todd, or but
Right.
it's a good thing, and or I'm getting ready to. I mean, a lot of people describe being nervous and anxious
Yeah.
similarly.
No, they're different. They are for me anyway. Because I have been in situations where extremely nervous,
Mm-hmm.
but that is not the same feeling.
What do you notice as a difference
Anxiety I feel here,
Mhm.
nervousness I feel here.
in the gut?
Yeah. And really feel it here.
Okay.
I can, back when I was in high school and I would run track, and I'm standing there and we're walking up towards the line. I used to run the mile, and we're getting ready and everybody's getting lined up. I am a mess. And then the gun goes off and it's like, I heard it described once. It was a book I was reading about a young man who was becoming a boxer. And he described it as this ice ball in his stomach. And then as soon as the first bell rang, he felt the ice ball explode and cold little sensations went everywhere. And that lasted for about the first minute of the round. And then it was like all of his training kicked in
Mm-hmm.
and he was in the moment.
Right.
And his jab was snapping and it ceased to be about that. It was the same thing when I ran. That first 100 meters or so, we called it yards back during my time. we ran the 440, not the 400. When that first 100 or so, yeah, I'm still really feeling it. And it's like my legs are just, I'm consciously having to remember to, move.
Wow.
And then I turn that corner, and as I'm going down the backstretch, all right, I'm settling in. Where do I want to run this race? Where do I want to have my position at
Mm-hmm.
for the bulk of the mile? Because the mile is a long race, and I had way too much time to think about why am I out here. But the that's where I was. Okay, situation is I'm settling. Sometimes I can remember. Well, sometimes I settle into third. Sometimes I would settle. One time I got too far in the back of the pack, and I could hear my coach when I was a freshman up in the stands yelling, "Let's go, Studer!" And and then I'd start. Okay, that was the wrong decision, and so I'd start moving up. And then we get to that last lap, and then I'm thinking about, all right, how do I want to finish this up? What do I still have left in the tank?
Mm-hmm.
How am I going to tap into this? All of that, I'm very in the present. Started with that extreme nervousness. If I'm feeling that nervousness, something big's about to happen.
Okay.
Yeah. Maybe successful, maybe not, but something big's about to happen. So
I just know what happens to me when I get really nervous. So yeah, something big does happen.
yeah.
Yeah. It's usually not pleasant for anybody around.
Well, on that note, listen, I love getting an opportunity to talk to you, whether we're doing it with microphones and cameras or whether we're just sitting and having a conversation. As folks that remember the last time Jason was on, you are now the former president of NAMI Southwest Iowa. However, you are still with us in an advisory role, and we're very, very grateful for that. And this is, to me, the baseline for how we succeed and advance as a society is, are we taking care of our mental health? Are we paying attention to those things? And we talk about stigma. That means you got to make it okay to have the conversation. You're not less of a man if you're feeling anxious. Sorry, you're just not. If you're dealing with whatever might be going on, whether it is completely manufactured in your head or whether there is actual events happening that you need some assistance with. It's okay. These are human experiences, and we need to be okay with having those experiences. I say publicly that I'm in therapy and have been for a long time because I have a platform, and if I'm running from it, then I'm doing a disservice to a lot of people. It is okay. It is a normal place to be.
Yeah.
And, I personally need it. And it's just part of my maintenance that gets me through, week, month, year. This is part of it, and it's necessary.
100%. And not everybody is going to need it for the entirety.
Mm-hmm.
Their life, but at some point, everybody's got something that they can definitely benefit from having that talk with a provider. So,
and finding that provider that they connect with.
Mm-hmm.
That's important too.
Right.
You don't always catch it out of the gate.
No.
Because there's you bring your own experiences
Mm-hmm.
and the way that you process things, because you are just as human as everyone else.
Right.
This is not, to my knowledge anyway, they still haven't invented a blood test that can say, okay, well, you have anxiety to this level, or you have depression to this level, or it doesn't work that way.
Right.
So, it is a process. Understand that it's not going to be a one-time thing. Oh, I went and saw Jason today, and I can go home and everything's going to be sunshine and rainbows from here on out. Probably not.
Oh, but it could be the start.
But it can be the start. Yes.
Being able to be comfortable in your body,
Mm-hmm.
calming the mind down so that you can work through whatever it is that you're going through.
Well, he's Jason Swain with Therapy Place and offices in Council Bluffs. So very thankful. You take a little time to come in and talk with us every so often. I hope that you keep doing that. These are the kind of conversations that we need to be having. And thanks for the whole exercise thing here.
Yeah.
That as I said, brought me right back into the present. Kind of took me out of my game a little bit there for a second, but I'm not used to just sitting quietly while we're doing a podcast for that long. And especially because you were just kind of going through the different processes there, I'm like, this feels a little different, but still.
Yeah.
Like, rewind it, go back and watch it, use that same technique and see whether or not it helps you too. So, all right, sir. Thank you much. We thank you for watching this episode of Council Bluffs Today. If you would do me a favor and click like, share, follow, maybe even subscribe, any of those actions, tell the algorithm that it's something that people in the area want to see. And that makes it so more people will see the great information that Jason was just talking about. So also a big thank you to Waldstein Plumbing for being our presenting sponsor. They, as I tell you all the time, when integrity matters and when doesn't it, these are the guys who you want to get a hold of. So until next time, my name is Todd Studer, and I hope you have a great day.